My name is Malvin Reed. I used to believe marriage was built on trust, honesty, and a sense of partnership. Turns out it can also be built on sarcasm, secrets, and a joke that changes everything. It all started one evening after work. I had just gotten home, exhausted from a 12-hour shift at the firm. My wife, Laura, was laughing over her phone, texting someone. When I asked who it was, she smiled and said, "Oh, it's just my work husband." I chuckled, the first time. I'd heard people use that term before harmlessly. But the way she said it, it wasn't harmless. It was playful, but something felt off. Maybe I was overthinking. Over the next few weeks, I noticed a pattern. She mentioned him often. "Steve said I looked stunning in this dress today. Steve brought me coffee again. He's so thoughtful." Every story had the same name, Steve. One night during dinner, she laughed and said, "You could never compete with my work husband, you know. He buys me lunch, opens doors, compliments me. You just exist." Then she laughed again and added, "Relax, Malvin. It's just a joke." But here's the thing about jokes. They usually have a little truth buried inside. That night I didn't argue. I just smiled and said, "You're right. I could never compete." And that was the moment she lost the game she didn't even know she was playing. From that day on, I started observing. I never asked questions. Never snooped through her phone. I didn't have to. She told me everything without realizing it. She'd show me her office pictures, videos from team outings, company dinners. And Steve was always there, always standing too close, always smiling too much. Once, she came home wearing a necklace I'd never seen before. She said it was from a team appreciation gift. I didn't ask, but I remembered. Laura worked in accounting. Her company had strict anti-fraternization policies. Relationships between employees were fine, until they involved supervisors, clients, or company funds. I knew that because I'd helped her proofread the policy handbook when she joined the firm. And Steve? He wasn't just a coworker. He was her project manager. So, I decided to make sure HR got a little reminder. The next day, I bought a small thank you card. Nothing fancy, just simple and sweet. Inside I wrote, "Steve, thank you for always taking care of me at work, and outside of it. You really do treat me better than my husband ever could." Then I placed it inside an envelope with no postage and dropped it into her office's internal mail slot, marked to Human Resources. I didn't forge her handwriting. I didn't fake a signature. Just her name typed neatly at the bottom, Laura R. Then I waited. It didn't take long. 2 days later she came home pale. Dinner untouched. Hands shaking. "HR called us both in," she whispered. "They said someone sent them a card, and they want to investigate." I looked up from my laptop and said, "A card? That's weird. You think someone's trying to get you in trouble?" She nodded, terrified. And for the first time I saw guilt in her eyes. A week later, Steve was suspended pending review. And Laura, my lovely wife, was asked to take paid leave until the inquiry ended. During that paid leave, I noticed she was constantly on her phone. Pleading texts. Long calls. Steve wasn't answering. Then one morning I caught her crying at the kitchen counter. She said, "They found messages between Steve and I. He said HR showed him screenshots and emails." I stayed silent. Because what could I possibly say? By the following week, Steve was fired. And Laura was reassigned to a remote position. Same pay, no prestige, no office, and no Steve. She spent months trying to rebuild her image at work. But gossip spreads faster than truth. Everyone knew. At home, she tried to act normal, pretending nothing happened. But the spark, or whatever was left, was gone. I finally told her the truth one night when she asked why I'd stopped wearing my ring. I said, "Because you turned our marriage into a competition." And I won, just not the way you expected. That was the last night she slept under my roof. A year later she texted me. I'm sorry. I lost everything, the job, the friends, the respect. Can we talk? I replied with one sentence. You were right, Laura. I could never compete with your work husband. Then I blocked her number. Moral of the story. A joke that humiliates your partner isn't funny, it's a confession. Never take loyalty for granted. Silence doesn't mean weakness. Some people learn through words, others through consequences. Respect dies quietly long before love does. The sweetest revenge is letting someone face the world they created alone. Kindly support us by leaving a like, sharing and subscribing to the channel for more interesting revenge stories like this. Thanks for watching.